Back. We are back to Skalitz, in the middle of the rain. In the last episode, we
Jesus.
escaped Talmberg. And then we headed here on horseback. We got all the armor that we're now wearing. And we're going to deal, like I said, with the massacre here and going back to bury your parents. The first thing you want to do, if you're willing, it's kind of sick, but all of these people have stuff on them. It's worth it to check these people. Now, torches, pretzels, horseradish, that's at 32%, or a pear that's at 31. You see that in the heart icon on the right here. You'll see right below that, 31 and 32. That's their condition, and it's in red. If any food is below 50, don't eat it, because you're going to get food poisoning, unless you have a special perk that allows you to eat rotten food without getting poisoned by it. But, so leave all that food. What you're really looking for is stuff like this, dried fruit. Dried fruit or dried mushrooms will always stay at 100. So it's a really good idea to check and get that as much as you can. See, there's a bandage there. I probably should have taken that. I'm not going to go through all these bodies because I know it's super boring to watch. But just so you guys know, see, they've got Groshen on them. You could go through each one of these bodies, and it's not a very fun thing to do, but it can give you that little bit of an upper edge. More dried fruit. I'm trying to find just one example of dried mushrooms because, well, we'll just head out. It stopped raining, that's nice. Dried mushrooms, here we go. So, again, it's at 100%. Those are great to take. If you're on the road and your food is spoiling, then it's no good to take any food. So if you're on these long journeys where you're away from towns, it's best to have dried fruit or dried mushrooms with you. You can eat them at any time. Dried meat also. So as you can see, we are approaching a guy here. It's important to survey situations. This guy looks like he's got a little bit of padding on. Looks like he might even have a vest. He is clearly looting that body. So in the middle of this situation, you're probably thinking that this guy's a bandit. So be ready to fight if you need to.
The answer to my prayers. Just
See,
when
so
I
he doesn't
wanted
even
to vent
care
my
about me.
rage
He's just
on
going to go right
someone.
for it.
Yo! Whoa!
And we'll get more into combat as we go, obviously. Gotta keep my stamina up. But for now, the only thing you really want to focus on is switching direction and comboing. Mercy kill him. Ugh. See, this is why it's nice to have the armor at the first stage of the game. You're going to be fighting. So it's good to have that. So let's look on him what he's got. I already have a coif. I stole one. And I don't need those foot wraps and soles. They're not very good. The leather jerkin I don't have. So I'm going to take that. And the patched hose might be better than the pants I'm wearing. If they're not, if you can see, it's 39.8 groschen. So not a bad price for those. I'll take those as well. So we'll go in here. We'll see what we got. Okay, so the leather jerkin is cool. So the way armor works in this game is pretty sweet. I'll go over that really quickly. This will just be one example. So this is him with absolutely no shirt on, technically naked. And if he'll load, there we go. So this is the like default shirt they give him. Now clothes work in this game layered. So it's an amazing system that I've never really seen before in a game where you'll put on your shirt, so like you're just light padded armor, just like any other shirt. Then over that, you're going to put the leather jerkin. That gives you a little extra armor and a vest. Then over that, you're going to put a decorated red Waffenrock for a little extra armor. Under the Waffenrock and over the jerkin, you could even put chainmail, but we don't have any. So that's what I mean by this game layers armor. It's incredible. The helmet, if I take the helmet off, I still have a coif on. So it's exactly like they would in real medieval Bohemia. They put on a padded coif first to protect their head. Then they put on the helmet. So just to show you that real quick, it's so cool how they layer armor in this game. The main objective here is just to get to Skalitz. Did I check all of that armor, by the way? So the patched hose, see at the bottom right those blue numbers? The visibility, conspicuousness, and noise, all of that is stealth. That's all based on stealth. So you want all of those numbers as low as possible. All the other numbers you want as high as possible, but those three you want as low as possible. So this is saying if I put on these patched hose, it's going to make me less visible, less conspicuous, and cause less noise. So that's fine. I like the look of them better anyway. I don't need to cause less noise right now, but that's okay. A few more bodies along the road. You can check if you want to. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So see how these dried mushrooms are at 46%? That's sort of impossible. If you have dried mushrooms on you, you can't ever get them below 100%. What I'm guessing is like the blood or something to make it more real. The blood like tainted these mushrooms so that that's the only way they can really spoil is if they're tainted, I guess. So just be aware of that in the beginning parts of the game when you're looting all these corpses. You might run into some dried fruit or dried mushrooms that's less than 100%. So don't take that. See, dried fruit at 37%. I'm not going to take that. Alright, whatever. So we'll make our way over here. The Cumans looted a lot of this stuff anyway. Oh. Sorry, I skipped that dialogue, but he said these were the charcoal burners. See? So that's too bad. Besides your parents, a few people you should keep on the lookout for that we'll see if we can find are Bianca, your love interest from the tavern, Fritz, Matthew, and Matthias, all of those guys, all your friends. Kunesh, the guy you got the axe hammer and nails from.
What did these poor souls ever do to them?
So we'll look for all those people. Alright, we're coming up on Skalitz. I don't have an unsheathed weapon. So they're telling you right here, even though I don't have it unsheathed, I guess they just tell you, don't walk into towns and stuff with your weapon drawn, especially a bloody weapon. See how my weapon's bloody? Until I clean it, it's going to stay bloody. So I would just... Oh, here we go, another bandit. I would just keep it sheathed in towns. So the thing to work on is combos. These guys don't have a lot of armor, so you're not going to need to do a lot of fancy stuff, and they haven't taught you advanced tactics yet. So I'm not going to go into advanced tactics yet, and they don't even allow me really to do some of the advanced tactics you should be able to do. Yeah, you don't like it. So he's surrendering. We can talk to him. You can just kill him if you want to, as long as nobody sees. There's no consequence to that, really, but it's your choice. You can then talk to him, release him unconditionally, let him go disarmed, or continue combat. I'm gonna let him go disarmed.
Give up your weapon and you can go.
So be it.
I do like to play a little bit more of a noble kind of guy in most cases, but that being said, by night I'm going to be stealing stuff. I'm going to be sort of playing a double life. Noble by day, thief by night. Most people are going to make the mistake, actually everybody makes the mistake, of just following this path all the way up to there. I'll show you what happens if you do that. The front gate is collapsed, so then people are like, well, how do I get in? And they spend a lot of time like roaming around the village and all this stuff. Don't worry about that. Just instead of coming straight up this path to here, take a right and keep following this path around. That'll take you to the back entrance, or really it's technically the front entrance, but you'll see. Keep an eye out for bandits as usual. I think we've got one more fight on our hands here. The weather is crappy. A nest. So, I'm not a big fan of these nests, but they'll tell you if you found a nest somewhere. I think it's right in that tree. There it is. It's so hard to see. So you could shoot an arrow, and you get like little prizes out of the nest. Sometimes it's money. I think sometimes it's food. I really haven't shot enough of those to know all of their rewards, but it's not a big deal. I sort of ignore those. But just so you know what they are. Here's another guy, see? He looks like he's in all dark stuff.
Hey,
he looks like he's in
there?
armor. He looks like he's
You're
got a
in
helmet.
the wrong place at the wrong time.
Mercy kill. So to do this little animation at the end, sometimes they're not dead yet. You hold left trigger when you're looking at them, and it'll tell you if you want a mercy kill or not. So let's check what he's got on him. See, I probably shouldn't have let the other guy go, because he's probably got good stuff, actually. That was maybe a mistake. I'll take the marigold decoction. If you don't remember, that's health potions. This padded black coif is going to be much better than mine. I just know it. The working boots will leave. I don't really care much about my boots right now. I don't care about that either. So, let's see here. The padded black coif. So, can you tell if this is better? They don't have a compare button. So the way you tell if it's better is at the bottom right again, all the blue numbers. If they're blue, it means it's better. If they just stay gray like that, it means it's exactly the same stats. And if they go red, which I don't think I have a worse coif, but if it's red, then it means it's worse. It's as simple as that. So this padded black coif is better in every way, basically, than the padded coif I'm wearing. Also, it makes a little bit less noise. I don't care about that. But the other thing to note here is the padded black coif is at 38 condition. It's only at 38%. The padded coif is at 100, and the padded black coif is still better. So this is much better, actually. If I repaired this to 100%, the stats would go up even more. So that's something to keep in mind, that the condition of equipment will affect its stats. We're back in Skalitz. Very different than it was.
Bailiff. He didn't run like me. He died with a sword in his hand.
This sword is called Shard. I would take it because you can make a little bit of money off of it. Did the bailiff have anything? Money. Alright. Well, we know the bailiff's dead. You don't have to go in the back alleys too much or anything like that in the town.
You stood by his side and he did this to you. In the end, you were a hero. You didn't run away. Didn't abandon him like me.
This, if you don't remember, was the Deutsch. This was the guy who was talking a lot of crap about Wenceslas and supported Sigismund, and now look at what Sigismund's troops did to him. Oh, this is where you'll find Bianca.
No, no, no. Why? Not you. It wasn't supposed to be you, Bianca. I'll find the bastards that did this to you. I'll find them. I swear it.
To loot her is important, because you get to save your schnapps. That's awesome. A free save. And Bianca's ring. So this doesn't do a whole lot, but it will give you a teeny bit of charisma. That's really what rings and necklaces do. So it's nice to have that at the beginning. You can slide that on. Oh, sorry, it's right here. You can slide that on and you'll get a little bit of charisma. It's not even enough to give you a full level of charisma, I don't think, but it gives you a teeny bit, so whatever. It's sad. So the people I don't see around here are Kunesh and my three friends, Fritz, Matthew, and Matthias. So, we either can't find them, they burn them, or they're still alive, hopefully.
Why did you do it to me, Father? Why? Why did you leave me? Forgive me. Forgive me for everything.
Sorry, it's probably been echoing the sound of the game a little bit. I didn't turn
Next
my
time I won't run.
television down, but it is now.
I'll never run away again. I'll find the one who did this to you. I remember his face. I'll find him. But first, I have to find a shovel and take care of you. I remember you told me you wanted to lie beside Mother. Here. Under the linden tree.
Yeah, we'll at least be able to do that for him.
At least I can do that much for you.
Yeah. That's what he said he wanted. So, at least he died with his wife in Skalitz, and we'll bury him under the linden tree. So, sad, but it is what it is. You can loot them if you want. I don't think they really have anything worth taking, though. So, I choose to let them be. So your first objective is to find a shovel, a spade. A shovel's important throughout the whole game because it's not just about digging a grave for your parents. You'll be digging up other graves if you choose to do those quests and getting different treasures. There's also treasure maps throughout this whole game where you can get very, very rare treasures. And I'll probably do a video eventually on where all of the treasure maps locations are so that we can get a whole bunch of treasure to sell and wear. Get some good armor and money going. To find the spade, you have to hear that dog and that guy, and then as soon as you do, you can start like heading towards where you think it's coming from. and see a cutscene takes over.
Get away, you mutt! Get away, you beast!
What's going on? Zbyszek, what in God's name are you doing?
What do you think I'm doing? Digging turnips? The beast just went for me.
Isn't that Mutt the butcher's man? And isn't that body the butcher's?
Yeah, that's him. What's that got to do with anything?
So if you don't remember who Zbyszek is, we had that little group brawl at the beginning of the game, right after we threw dung at the Deutsch's house. And he was one of the kids who was against us in that brawl.
I'd say the poor creature is standing guard over his master. You weren't trying to get to him, were you?
What do you care what I'm doing here? What are you doing here?
Okay, so he's a 94. He actually really likes me. I'm a 4, 5, and 5. I don't really want to get aggressive with him. Even though I'm higher in this, as we went over in one of the other videos, you want to sort of feel out the situation also. And I don't want to tempt him too much yet.
I came to bury my parents.
Maybe he'll give me the shovel.
So bury them and leave me be.
Okay, so that was successful, but it didn't really get me anywhere. It did, if you look at the bottom right, show me some of his stats. So now I know that he's much lower in regular speech than me and way lower in crowned nobility speech. What happened to Teresa?
Do you know what happened to Teresa from the mill? When I fled, the humans wanted to... They meant to violate her, and God knows what else.
No, I don't know. What do I care? They probably raped her and killed her like all the others. Her misfortune. Right now, I've got to take care of myself.
That's very nice of you. If you don't remember who Teresa is, she's the lady who we gave the nails to at the beginning of the game, and she's also the woman, if you didn't know, who was being violated by those 3 humans when you whistled to get them away from her. How did you get away?
How did you manage to get away?
How do you think? I ran.
Okay. Can I have that spade, please?
Would you lend me that spade? I have to dig a grave, and I can't find another.
What's it worth to you? I see you have a fine sword. I'll gladly trade you my spade for that. How did you come by it anyway?
I'll stick it up your arse. That is a very tempting option, but I'm not going to do that.
My father forged it for Sir Radzik. It's my duty to deliver it to him. It's not for sale.
Go right ahead and dig that grave with your sword. See how that goes. And where will you dig it anyway? Here? You're not going to lay your parents in unhallowed ground, are you?
They give you a lot of opportunities to just, like, turn on this guy. You really are a piece of shit.
Father said he wanted to be buried here, and I can't take them to St. James's. God willing, later I can find a priest to consecrate the ground.
You know, why do you care? So now they're going to force me to do this. I'm not just going to say fuck you.
I've interrupted you robbing the dead. Is that why you're so ill-tempered?
Now I'm going to be a hypocrite.
You bastard. Haven't you got a shred of honor?
And what of it? The butcher has no
I've
more
been, like,
need
looting
of coin.
dead bodies all day.
And now that I think of it, your sword would do me quite nicely as well. Will you hand it over without a fuss, or do you want to end up like the butcher here?
The only way you'll touch this sword is when I shove it in your guts.
Whew. Okay, he ran away. That's not always the outcome. If he's not afraid of you or intimidated by you at all, he will fight you. He'll fist fight you. I don't know if you can whip out your sword and kill him, but I fist fought him until he left. So we'll take the spade. This is a funny aspect of the game. You can loot this guy if you want. I mean, like, nobody's going to know or care. The dried meat's probably good. The Groshen's good. This is a funny part of the game that most people don't know about. So, this dog was supposed to be your companion throughout the whole game. And they had that, I think, programmed in for a long time, if I'm not mistaken. But they just couldn't get it done in time. So, it's kind of funny. In the early, like, next 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to see a lot of where this dog, like, ends up coming and following us and helping us and all this stuff. And you can clearly see they have set up that this dog is going to be your companion through the whole game, and then they could not finish it. I'm sure the programming for a dog companion throughout the entire game is a nightmare. But it would have been really cool, and to their credit, they still are going to put it in. They're planning to put in a playable woman hero in a DLC. So we're going to get a whole new campaign where you can play a woman hero, and then they'll add in the dog as well, I think, for the main campaign and the DLC. So that is cool. So our next order of business, now that we finally got that spade, I'm sorry I was talking if you didn't see. He leaves the spade right there, and so I just picked it up. If you didn't see that, you can go back and take a look. But then we got to go up here. This is not obvious. I've had so many people have trouble with this. So he wants to be buried under the linden tree. So everybody goes here and expects, oh, immediate cutscene.
This is a good place. You're gonna like it here.
See, he says that, but then what I get is a lot of people walking around like this and going like, where do I do this? Like, what is going on? And I've watched so many people do that, and they've walked right over the spot like 20 times. It's right here. And unless you put your cursor right over it, you're not going to see it. See, it like disappears in a second. So just know it's right there, under the linden tree, at this like little, this little mound, excuse me, of dirt right here. And then once you do that, then it goes to a cutscene. Is that necessary? Probably not, but. See the dogs, like, coming over? They have this whole thing where, like, they set up this dog companion and then you don't get it. It's a little disappointing, but, I mean, I get it. I totally get it. This team has done an incredible job with the resources and manpower that they have. If you think about, like, an Elder Scrolls game, that's, like, probably around 1,000 people, maybe more. This was around 100, so that's insane.
So, let's get to it. Damn it all. How am I going to do this?
Do you need some help?
Is that him?
Yes. Can't you see the sword?
See, he
Who are
didn't
you?
run away.
What do you want?
He went to get help.
Zbyszek?
Who do you think we are? Franciscan brothers? We're here to rob you of everything you've got. Especially that fine blade that's of no use to a peasant like you anyway.
Banish the thought. It is my father's sword.
You mean him? I don't think he's gonna be needing it anymore. Listen here, boy. You hand over that sword, I might just let you go. If not, you're in for a family reunion you really don't want.
Leave me alone.
Kill him, Runt! Aye, cut the bastard down.
So you have no choice but to
As you
fight
like.
this guy.
Could have just cost you a few teeth.
I don't know if it's possible to win. It sure doesn't seem like it. We'll try, but he's a much better warrior than you. He knows tactics you don't know, and he's insanely strong. I lasted longer than I did the last time. See, he just tears you apart. Even when I hit him, it doesn't even like, that was a hit to his head, and it doesn't even seem like hurting him. So, my guess is it's not possible to beat him right there. But it only takes 2 hits against you to beat it, so.
I told you how it would end. You should have listened to me. This is nice work. The chief is going to like it. It's new, isn't it? And now, for the maiden bloodletting. Surely your father never would have imagined it would be your blood. I believe there's a word for such moments. The old man would certainly know. But I'm just a common killer.
Irony.
Did you help make it? No doubt you did. Such miserable luck. To die by the sword you helped forge.
Hey, go fuckers!
Teresa.
The games are over.
George! Disperse this rebel!
Fuck.
Ah, Sir Robard comes to save the day. Talmberg sent men after you when they found out you escaped. So that's it. That's the end of the, like, beginning tutorial. From here on out, they're going to sort of let you loose into the world, and you're going to be able to do what you want. Funny, they've duped you twice now. They made you think your home was Skalitz. So I went around like memorizing all the buildings and learning where all the shops were, and then all of a sudden Skalitz is destroyed. The dog's right next to you. It's so funny. Then they take you to Talmberg, and they think, well, Talmberg's probably going to be my home. They even gave me a bed here. There's Talmberg right there. So they're dropping off Robard and heading off. And then Talmberg ends up not being your home either. So now this is going to be your official, like, first home. We're going to be spending a lot of time in this next place, getting our feet under us and trying to make a little bit of money. Ratai's a cool place. It's heavily fortified on that hill, like you could see briefly, but it also has 2 castles, one on each side of the city. This is sort of a weird segment of the game where you're like hallucinating. There's no real like objective here except to move forward. And then you'll see like these people, I guess they're your parents. And then you like fight these guys. This not only is very weird, it's not really, in my opinion, this isn't very well done. But it's not very long at all. It's once you defeat a few of these guys, you're good to go. Wow, it actually levels your sword in agility, even in the illusion. That's pretty cool. It's worth fighting those guys for. So you fight those guys, they sit there like that and look at you, and you run to the... Just follow the compass and that A marker. And then, see, it's over.
Do you need some help?
The haunting memories. He's been through quite a week, this guy.
Henry! There's work to be done. Wake up, Henry. It's past sunrise.
Henry, can you hear me?
Get up, Henry. Wake up. It's a new day.
Henry, can you hear me? Hallelujah. I thought you'd never wake. Were you having a nightmare?
Teresa?
You still have a fever. Uncle won't be pleased, but you'll have to stay in bed.
Okay, then I'll stay in bed.
Where am I? In Skalitz?
We're at my uncle's mill in Rattay. I didn't know where else to go.
What happened?
You don't remember anything? I suppose that's not surprising. I found you in Skalitz after those bandits attacked you. I thought they'd done for you, but you were still breathing. Why in heaven's name did you go back there? It was madness. They slaughtered everyone who didn't run.
My parents, I wanted to bury them. I had to...
Don't worry. I took care of it.
Thank you.
Any good Christian would have done the same. Now sleep. You need your strength back.
A few delirious days later.
You're awake.
Good morning.
It's near midnight. You've slept all day.
Oh. Oh, I feel like a horse fell on me.
The beating you took was worse. But at least the fever's broken.
How did you manage to save me?
You were lucky. I was in Skalitz and I saw Zbyszek and his thugs. I tried to distract them, but it would have been no use if those soldiers from Tamburg hadn't arrived. They were searching for you and scattered the bandits.
Yeah, what were you
What
doing
in the
there,
world
then?
were you doing in Skalitz?
Waiting to die.
What?
They killed my brothers, my family, my friends.
They're all dead.
All of them. Everyone I ever loved. They killed one of my brothers in the mines. After that, What did I have to live for?
Don't say that. There's always hope.
No, there isn't. But it doesn't matter. I'm a different person now.
Searching for me?
Yes. Lord Divish sent them, led by Captain Robard. So tell me, why is a lord of such high standing interested in a blacksmith?
Sir Divish promised Sir Radic he'd look after me. But as for why they should care, I've no idea.
I mean, they took big risk with their men coming to get him.
Oh, I'm exhausted.
Or coming to get me.
I'm not surprised. I'll bring you water and something to eat. In the meantime, rest. You're still very weak.
Back to the rest. Okay, even later.
Good morning to you. How's the invalid today?
Ugh, haven't felt as good as this since they lashed me to the wheel and quartered me on the town square.
Got your sense of humour back. You must be better. My uncle will be glad to hear it. I had a job persuading him to let me bring you here. If you'd lain around much longer, he really would have dumped you on the town square. You can stay until you find somewhere else to live, but my uncle will want payment for taking you in and caring for you.
And this is your uncle's house?
We're in Ratay Mill, my uncle's miller Peshek. He took me in, and I talked him into taking care of you too.
I see.
I've been lying here long enough.
Uncle will be pleased he's one mouth less to feed. But are you truly well enough?
Well enough to do what has to be done. Where can I find Sir Radzig?
He's in the lower castle in Perkstein. He's a guest of Sir Hanush of Leipa. But someone like you can't just walk up bold as you please and demand an audience.
I know Sir Radzig, and I didn't bring him his sword as I was supposed to. I must see him.
If you insist. But you need to speak to my uncle first. You've been in your sickbed for over a fortnight while he paid the apothecary to tend to you, and for medicine. That's a good deal of coin you owe him.
I've been lying here 2 weeks.
So now I'm in
My
debt.
God.
Better a fortnight in bed than an eternity in the grave. If it weren't for my uncle, you wouldn't be here at all.
I love how they start you out as a nobody. You know, again, they start you out like no skills. Everything's really hard at first. You don't have any equipment. You have very little money. And now you're in debt, too.
I owe you both my life, and I'll repay my debt. You have my word.
All right. But before you go to town, you should eat something. You're still weak. There's food on the table for you.
Well, thank you very much. So, the Ratai Mill is a home. You can
What is
still go
it?
to Talmberg and sleep in that bed as well, but this is your, like, official
Hey,
bed
youngster,
for a while.
come here.
With that, we are going to end this one. I don't know how long it's gone, but that seems good enough. We got through all of the Skalitz stuff, and next time, on the next episode, we'll dive right into the meat and bones of getting started on your own, and where you might want to go, how you might want to do some of these things, order of quests, things like that. So we'll get into all that next time, and see you then.